Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to July 9th, 2018. This is Molly McCord, and this is the new second episode I have added to help us all work with the energies of this summer. This is a big time. There's a lot of turning point energies happening right now, and I want to do my part to help you feel connected, hopeful, inspired, and at least provide more information about the bigger picture, because it really is a big time. So that's the intention of this second show. This is the show on Mondays that we focus on healing energies. So yes, we talk about astrology, but I focus it on the healing slant of things. And then the Wednesday episode is really more about the astrological energies. So that's how I have at least planned it. We'll see how it goes. But I just hope that it does benefit you and continues to support you. We are in eclipse season now. Big things are already happening. I felt a huge energy shift last Friday, which would have been the 6th, July 6th, and then also on July 7th. So we're in it, and perhaps you felt it too over the weekend. You can feel the energies that are present and that are building. So we're going to do a powerful healing visual in this episode. And whenever you listen to this episode is perfectly timed. Don't think that you missed something or that you have to be doing these visualizations at the same time. How it works actually is that as we each tune in to the same energetic vibration and we visualize the same thing, we all continually contribute to keeping it alive, to keeping it activated and strong. So that's what is the beauty of remembering that we are experiencing the human playground, which exists in time and space, right? We have structures of life, we have times in the day, but beyond that, we are limitless, and time does not exist. And so the energies that we contribute are timeless, and they help us remember the bigger picture, the bigger. I was going to say plan, but there's no plan. It's like the plan. A plan is very human, right? Because that's linear. This is the openness. It's the potentials and the possibilities. It's understanding that there are many perfect ways that something can unfold in the higher realms, in the spiritual realms of understanding. And so we can forget that because here we are in our human suits and we're wearing our, summer dresses or jeans and tank tops, and we're like, well, I'm just trying to get through the day and the energies feel really big. What can I do to remember that we're here for a bigger purpose, a bigger cause, and that we each contribute to that with our own intention, our own energies, and our own souls. I mean, this is what I'm just feeling here is that when we all contribute to the same visual, it's like the soul blasts come through, right? You turn on the light and it just blasts the same energy frequency. And we need this right now because there's such a big paradigm shift that we've been experiencing for a long time. But there's times when it reaches these bigger points. And the paradigm shift is happening I'm feeling it in energy frequencies at like the 7th, 70, 8D, 90. The higher you go up in dimensions, there's less form and more energy. So it's not as if you can always see. The higher you go into higher dimensions, things lose their form because when they come down to the 3D, they need a form and a shape and a weight to be seen, to be physical. But when you go up into higher dimensions, it's like they start to dissolve, right? Things start to let loose, and they don't need that same density to be held together. The energy becomes something else. So understand that what's happening here is in the higher realms, 9D, 8D, 7D is what I'm feeling. And that is where it's just so beautiful. It's so peaceful. There's harmony and joy in the process and the bigger possibility, that bigger sense of what we as a human family are co-creating. And then you come down to the 5D, which is much more of the spiritual, intuitive, energetic realms. And they are also like a joy, but this is where we can really see angels and spirit guides and entities that support. It's again, there's form there. And then we come down into the third dimension and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? What's happening here? So, of course, there is joy at every level of an energy field, but in the 3D, it can feel like we're so separated from it, and we can feel that, But part of this ascension energy, my friends, is we rise up and we become comfortable in the 5D, and we're like, oh, yes, that's right. Everything is going to bring us what we need to continue to grow, and then the higher dimensions have even more of that. It's like the higher doses of those vibrations, energies, frequencies of unconditional love. Truly, that's what it is. So what we're going to be doing is just really infusing the matrix energies of the planet with these higher frequencies, vibrations, intentions of that soul blast energy. And we're going to do it with clear intentions for humanity's best and highest needs right now. I'm just getting this visual of a really cool, it's one of these awesome MerKaBas where it's just lit up at every point with light, okay? So imagine that in your head. If you don't know what a MerKaBa is, you might want to Google it because it's not a shape I can just describe. It's a bit like a bunch of pyramids that are all intertwined into a really cool shape. It's a very dynamic energy. A MerKaBa has a lot of energy fields in it and planes and sides and points, and it's just a very cool shape. So that's what I'm seeing, and every point of the MerKaBa has these really bright lights that are just lit up. And so please envision this MerKaBa energy that is starting in the middle of the earth, okay? So the center of the earth, the journey to the center of the earth's core, where there is great, very different energies there. And we're going to envision that MerKaBa energy expanding out, beyond the earth's gravity. I mean, it goes into the different spheres, the toposphere, the stratosphere, and beyond. And so envision the earth encapsulated in this gorgeous MerKaBa energy field that is lit up not only at each of the points, but each of the planes, each of the sides, the angles. And it's really like all, it just, see, now I'm seeing it turn to rainbow colors. I mean, it just comes alive because when everyone contributes their own intention, their own energy, it creates a lot of light, but within the light, there's like these iridescent colors that are different shades of rainbow. So, wow, it feels so gorgeous. I hope you can at least feel that or see that. I hope you're connecting to it in some sense or some form within your own self right now, because we each need this energy at this time for our own experiences. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute, what's happening astrologically right now. But we're going to start with this MerKaBa energy field because it's holding us. I just got chills. It's holding us. It's holding the planet. It's actually holding more pieces together. It's not allowing things to break. It's not allowing things to fall apart. It's almost like giving the space for the different curves and angles, different opinions, different beliefs, different perspectives. Like it's holding all of that into a beautiful shape, a beautiful energy field that is the light, that is the rainbow of lights, and it feels so warm. dazzling, comforting. Again, I hope you feel this for yourself right now because it's meant to invigorate you. It's meant to support you with whatever you're experiencing, but it's really meant to benefit everyone on the planet. So as we move through this week and the rest of July, this MerKaBa energy needs the continual sustained energy of you just visualizing it. And if this is brand new to you, awesome, welcome, great. We need more energy for these visualizations. If this is weird for you because it's brand new, it's okay. You're ready. Like, you've been drawn here to this visualization for a reason. So what you're doing is just simply imagining this MerKaBa surrounding the planet. It allows the planet to grow as needed, to expand, to move, to be, dynamic, and to also be contained, again, encapsulated with so much light. And I feel it as such a loving energy of growth, support, transformation, and the understanding that if it appears that something falls, breaks, leaves, it's almost like that MerKaBa energy catches it. I'm getting the image of a catcher's mitt in baseball. It catches the energy and just transmutes it into the light. Transmutes it into the light. So if we go, this is part of what, there's just so much happening. The paradigm shifting is happening at so many layers, right, that it's dynamic, and yet I feel that whatever is meant to be transmuted is doing so perfectly. It's a 24-hour job. This MerKaBa, it's catching a lot of stuff. It's really trying. It's not even trying. It doesn't have to try. It's really just effortlessly understanding how the energy shift on this planet is happening in a divine way, even when it's uncomfortable in the 3D. And I feel like this MerKaBa is a beautiful shell, a beautiful energy that is connected with the sun in Cancer, because you know how Cancer is a protective energy. But it's not protective as in defensive. It's like a soft shell. It's sort of that translucent soft shell of, it's protecting the energy and the boundaries and understanding that it's safe to move through this transformation. And so I hope that this visual really gives you something to go to if this week in July, it just keeps moving into more like a quicker spin, when things speed up, heat up, go. It's a transformational energy that is perfectly orchestrated, perfectly timed, and we need a place to go where we can remember that it's safe to be here and that it's supported to be here. So we have the sun in Cancer, and it is building to an opposition with Pluto at 20 degrees. Now, this alone is a transit that we've had since 2008. That's when Pluto entered Capricorn. So every time the sun has been in Cancer, we've had this sense of, I feel really vulnerable, the sun in Cancer, and then the Pluto opposition in Capricorn challenges that sense of safety, your feelings, where you go to retreat or feel safe. So it's been this ongoing annual event since 2008, okay? So just to put it into perspective. But this year is much bigger, because not only do we have the sun opposing Pluto, but we have the moon opposing Pluto, and it's a new moon, and it's a solar eclipse. layers and layers of energies are then brought in, and it brings this kapow factor. So we are familiar with this energy already, but what it's doing is it's really giving you a checking in point of what's going forward and what's not going forward. And you think, oh, well, what do you mean by a checking in point, Molly? Well, it's actually bringing up all of the stuff from childhood, parents, safety, emotions that we've been carrying. And the sun and the moon in Cancer are like, this is how I feel. This is what I learned. This was the unconscious programming that I received in my childhood when I was younger, when I didn't know better, about myself, about my inner world, how to feel safe, how to take care of myself. This is what I'm holding, because Cancer holds on. It holds on to the past. It holds on to the family lineage. It holds on to the mother stuff, whether that is your biological mother, how you were mothered, the lineage of mothers you come from. I mean, talk about a giant emotional category here. So that mothering theme is what it means to be a mother. And it relates to families. It relates to where we go to feel that we belong. That first tribe, your first experience of belonging is with a family, whether that's siblings. It's the nuclear family, big or small, but that's what it is. It's like I was born into this family. This is my last name. This is where I live on the earth. This is my home because of these people I'm related to. This is, the clan, the tribe, that first tribe. So we all have integrated energies from the family, the tribe, the childhood stuff, all of that, right? And this eclipse that's exact July 12th or July 13th, depending on your location, it opposes Pluto. And Pluto says, are you really going to carry that with you? What are you going to do with that? Is that really who you're choosing to be going forward? Is that serving you? And does it make you feel powerful? Pluto in Capricorn is not sentimental, is not subjective, is not emotional. So it's this huge energy point where you're feeling the past come forward somehow. And the past will depend on where 20 degrees of Cancer is for you. And it's coming forward and asking you if you're done with that yet. And Cancer doesn't want to be done with the past. Cancer loves the past. It's antiques. It's, old photo albums. It's your family tree. It's your genealogy. And Pluto is saying, well, is there power in that for you? So we all are experiencing some kind of power struggle right now. Oh, good. And that means it's actually, well, depending on your chart, okay, but for most people it's really under the surface. It's not conscious. But there's a shifting point that's been building, and it's time now to consciously let go of whatever that heavy dead weight is, the emotional stuff, the purging. I mean, talk about a week of big purging. That's what this week is. If we had to just sum it up, it's a purging solar eclipse. And by the way, the July 27th solar eclipse at the end of this month is even bigger for purging. So this is a huge energy that we're feeling personally. We're feeling it emotionally. We're all a little tender. There's parts of us that just feel the crabby, that just feel you want to be comforted. You need to be taken care of. And so you do that for yourself. That's the healthy way to manage the energy. And then you feel that perhaps there's a new way to mother yourself, nurture yourself, that is in greater alignment with who you are now, what you value, what's important to you, and where you are going next. Now, I think that eclipses help when we can put it into the bigger picture. This is the first eclipse that we're having with the Cancer Capricorn dynamic, and we're going to have more in these energies in 2019. So we're just entering this part of your chart with the eclipses, which shows where you're breaking out and breaking free. And it's understanding that it might not feel comfortable. It just might not feel comfortable. And we avoid that, right? Don't we avoid that sense of discomfort? And we're like, oh, I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to cry. I don't want to go there. Or I don't want to talk about the past. I want to live in the present. But there's so much about this summer that brings up the past because of all the planets in retrograde. So the past is meant to be a useful tool. It's meant to be a helpful tool. It's not meant to control you. It's not meant to have that power that you maybe thought it did. That's what you're breaking out of. See, you're breaking free of that control from the past. So, big emotionally, it can feel big personally, depending on your chart, depending on how the Cancer energies are in your chart. And ultimately, it's cleansing. And, I like to always provide that angle to things, that empowerment to things. But it might not feel like it right away. And if you can perhaps return to the visual of the MerKaBa, the light, the angles, the ability to be full in yourself, and to let that be enough, it'll help. This month has big energies, and it's a big closing cycle. Big changes, turning points, things we're not going to see or expect, but it's time. And it's also good to know that this is how we really practice our own spiritual mastery and how we become better to each other for humanity. Because when we can each get through our stuff, like from the childhood, from the past, from relationship stuff, from emotional wounds, from all of that, that's how we heal. And then that's how we then contribute greater compassion to the planet. Now, there's been this big event in Thailand, the cave rescue of the 12 boys and their coach. And I want to share the astrology with you of this event because it's really quite fascinating. On June 23rd is when the team went into the cave. On June 23rd was 3 days before Mars in Aquarius stationed retrograde. So Mars is men, masculine energy. It is a go-getter. It is an athlete. And Aquarius is teams. So Mars in Aquarius was the team of boys stationing retrograde. And retrograde, well, going into, back further into the cave. Jupiter in Scorpio is the cave. Scorpio is where we go into the depths of our fears, of our psyches, the shadow, the dark, and we go in to discover what's in there, what lives in our psyches, what lives in our fears. So Scorpio is associated with a cave and the sense that we have to go into some parts of ourselves to understand what's operating underneath the surface. And so Jupiter in Scorpio, however, Jupiter brings the learning, the opportunity to see what that is meant to, how that's meant to support you. And so Jupiter was retrograde in Scorpio, the cave, and it went to 13 degrees. That was actually creating a square to Mars in Aquarius. So both the planets are moving retrograde. They're both in fixed planets, which is literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you put these pieces together. And then there was the Grand Trine in water, which brought in monsoon. I mean, monsoon season happens every year, but the Grand Trine brings in more water. So that was the severe flooding in Japan. That was the sense that, okay, there is big emotional support. There's big emotions. There's collective emotions flowing. And we also had, over this past weekend, a T-square in fixed signs. And that was with Jupiter in Scorpio, the cave, Mars in Aquarius, the sports team, and then Mercury in Leo, which is what do we do? And you had these planets really looking for a break. And so the break came when the moon went over Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus, and it's like, we got to do this today, right? That was when they said it's D-Day. And so the break came, and when I heard that news, I just kept visualizing all of these boys standing on solid ground in the sunlight. And I also kept visualizing a huge cloud of light keeping the rain away. Because, they've been pumping that cave to help them be rescued. Then you have this Grand Trine in Earth, which is the resources. So the Saturn in Capricorn is the officials of the governments who are making decisions. You have the Uranus in Taurus, which is the unexpected resources coming through. So that could be, say, Elon Musk bringing some new diving equipment for boys, other contributions of money, resources, support to help with the rescue. And now we're going to have Venus. She moves into Virgo this week, actually later today on July 9th. July 10th and 11th is that Grand Trine. So Venus in Virgo is going to be a female energy who understands a new solution. Actually, this could also be the support at the hospitals, where the nurses, the doctors, the healing professionals, support staff are on hand to help the boys, the coach, and all the expert divers with their bodies, healing their bodies. That's what Venus and Virgo does. So the astrology is quite amazing for this event, and depending on when you listen to this podcast, there'll probably be more updates. As I'm saying this, there have been 8 boys who have been pulled out. There's still 4 boys and the coach left. I'm still visualizing so much light in their spirits, in their mental strength, right? That sense of getting through the darkness. 2 weeks in a dark cave, and they were licking water off the cave walls to survive, so they don't know how their bodies are doing. I mean, there's going to be huge PTSD for this. But the good news that is coming through is how Jupiter in Scorpio is stationing direct this week. It's happening exactly on July 10th, 1:02 p.m. That's Eastern Time. Jupiter goes direct, and this could mean water. I mean, that is that is the energy, but there's also a sense of hope, like a resurgence of pushing them out, of getting them out of that cave. So there is a lot of symbolism in this rescue effort. The symbolism is, of course, secondary only to the human matters at hand of survival and rescue and healing. And I feel that this energy of this rescue is a reminder of the best of humanity. Can take care of each other. We can help each other. How can we do that when it's needed? And look at who shows up, right? Look at all of the resources, experts, guides, countries, public sector, private sector that shows up. So in a way, humanity needs this win. These boys need it, right? And they're beautiful souls. If you can visualize giving each of them a stronger ball of light in their hearts and in their minds, like the mental strength of everything they've been through, and then in their physical selves, all of this matters because of what they have come to represent for the world, and for the energy that we need to unite us right now. It's fascinating, too, when you look at how we have this energy of Cancer, this sun and the moon, being opposed by Pluto and Capricorn, which is the separation of families. So you look at how these boys are separated from their parents, similar to recent events in the United States of the separation of children from their parents. And all of this is happening against the backdrop of Chiron in Aries being squared by Saturn in Capricorn. So Saturn and Capricorn are the officials making the decisions, and Chiron in Aries are the children, and how this affects their self-identity and who they are in the world. So incredible, these connections, they help us see how astrology is alive around us. And these are big wounds. These are wounds that take a lifetime to heal. And I saw on, I think it was CBS News, that the families that were separated at the border in the U.S., they have not been reunited. Some of the kids, this is how human trafficking thrives, sex trafficking. It's from very vulnerable populations of children, often is how it starts. So some of these kids can't be tracked down anymore because they're in either human trafficking, sex trafficking. I mean, this is the reality of our world, right? And so that's why these matters are important, because we are healing and changing things. And it's important that if you can contribute in some way, just energetically, at least understanding that all of this is how our planet is evolving. It's evolving how we treat each other and how we move it forward. Jupiter in Scorpio is also trining the Neptune in Pisces, which brings in the strong spiritual support. The energy work matters right now. The spiritual work matters right now. And it's in the darkest places, the darkest caves, that the energy can go. It's literally the darkest caves where people can be rescued, where there can be new light penetrated through. So you might feel this personally in yourself. I know that a lot of these global issues, they feel, far away. Molly, that doesn't affect my real life, or that's something on the news. What does that do with me? Typically, people who listen to this show, you're so connected that you have a desire to do something and to help and to contribute. And so just remember that right now, the energy work matters. The spiritual work matters. The ability to keep this energy going helps. It helps in ways that we can't see, which is why it's spiritual and energetic work. But I also think of how we have to give energy to, for example, the expert divers who are going into these caves to rescue these boys, the officials, the parents who have not been told if their child is rescued or not. They're waiting before they release the names. So all the parents collectively are waiting, and they don't know whose child is still in and who's been rescued. So there's a lot here, and we are supporting it in the ways that we can. So returning to the image of this MerKaBa, my friends, there are other issues all over the planet right now that are coming up for energy work. And if you can just simply remember that the light you envision with your third eye, in your meditations, wherever it comes from, wherever you feel it, if you can just keep it going out, and you don't even have to say where you want to direct light or energy to, or healing energy. You can just simply ask or state the intention, please send this to exactly where it's needed right now. And that's how miracles happen. We all contribute to that vibration of miracles and transformation when we have that intention. Okay, now I'm hearing, this is kind of funny. Now I'm getting the image of don't forget to give yourself that energy too. Have you ever been to a party and you're like serving up the cake and you're giving everybody else the cake, and it's like, don't forget to give yourself a piece of cake? That's what I'm getting the image of. Be sure to give yourself this connection to that healing energy, to receive it for yourself, to really give it into you, to see yourself connected to that high vibrating MerKaBa, to see it as you're receiving it too. Because I think what happens so often with light workers, energy workers, healers, you give it a lot out, but you've got to receive it. You've got to fill your own tank. You've got to take care of you. So take some deep breaths to receive it in, to also know that that strengthens you even more, and that it's important for you to receive at this time too. I'm just listening to see if there's anything else to share with you right now. This feels pretty complete. I'll be back on Wednesday, of course, with the next episode and to talk more about the astrology. And I am keeping the energy strong because of the Thai cave rescue is so much more. It's so much more that the energy ripples of it is so big right now. And it's really about the best of humanity and so much that can come from that. So thank you so much for joining me. I try not to have those awkward silences when I'm doing this, but sometimes I just have to listen and take a minute and make sure that there isn't anything I'm forgetting. I appreciate you for listening. Thank you to everybody who's new, you've just found this podcast. I appreciate your presence. You'll find that I literally have hundreds of episodes. The show has been live since 2012, and you'll find hundreds of episodes. There's over 350. A full library at your disposal. Please choose and connect with whatever you need right now. And thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful to all of you and what the messages, the emails, the comments, the connections. I mean, there's amazing people on the planet, and we know this, but you really make a difference, at least to me and to people that I help. So I want to just give a shout out to all the beautiful, awakened, amazing, conscious people and how we're all doing this together, and that I recognize you, and I'm grateful to connect with you, especially through one-on-one sessions. and to meet you and to hear about your journey and what you've learned so far. So thank you all for being here. I'll speak with you again live on Wednesday, but of course you can listen to these podcasts whenever they are convenient for you. And we will connect again on the eclipse. Please remember to breathe this week. Don't forget to breathe because it's a big time. It's a big time. And we have a gorgeous, beautiful MerKaBa supporting us. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you back here soon, and I wish you a beautiful day ahead. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, this is pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.